7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Producer Corey's wondering why I'm laughing because it's not funny. But in a second, you're going to see why. Yeah, hey. Welcome to the most real show on the television and various other platforms. It's the RP Show coming at you on the Game Plus TV network, various platforms. Coming up today, we'll be joined by Granger from The Athletic Las Vegas to talk some Golden Knights. Scruffy's co-hosting with us today. You're not going to see him. You're only going to hear him, and it's an issue. There you go. So, hey, Mitchell, welcome to the program. And we can't hear Mitch. Okay, so we're going to leave this up, right, Producer Corey? Oh, he's not even there. Okay. I thought we were going to have him audio, and he's not going to see us. But yeah, it's okay.
I'm in.
And now we have him. Ta-da! How do you like us so far, folks? The most. I told everybody, Mitch. I prepared them. I said the most real show on the television, and we're off. What a start!
I'm trying to set this thing up. Here we go. Okay.
I know you're good. Don't touch a blinking thing. You're good. I love it. Okay. Are you ready to start this thing? Are you ready to get this Boeing going?
It's Monday and the times have changed, and look how this is starting. Let's go.
I know. And I'm already having the time of my life. Okay, we got NFL to come. We got Briar. We got World Baseball Classic. We got a whole lot of stuff. Actually, even college hoops. But I'm going to tell you this. All over America, all they're talking about, Mitch, is what you know, NFL and free agency starting this week. But all across Canada, they're talking hockey. And I see that you had your Oilers hoodie on, so let's start there. Quick six show topics presented by Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Leon Draisaitl's goal at 11:53, the third period, stood as the winner as the visiting Edmonton Oilers defeated the Vegas Golden Knights 4-2 in NHL play Sunday. Trent Frederic, Vasily Podkolzin, and Kasperi Kapanen also scored for the Oilers. Noah Hannafin and Jack Eichel scored for Vegas while Mitch Marner had 2 assists. So is all right in Oilers Nation today because the Oilers went into Vegas and won? Oh.
No. I thought they played a lot better game last night. They played a little bit more defensive hockey, and they capitalized on their opportunities. And let's, call a spade a spade. The Vegas Golden Knights aren't exactly the greatest hockey team on earth right now either. But Edmonton found a way last night. And, it was funny watching the game last night. They get a late power play, and Jack Michaels goes, the one thing they can't do here is get cute with the puck and give it away and give up a shorthanded goal because they've got control of this game. And the puck ends up going down into Edmonton's end, and Evan Bouchard gives the puck away to Jack Eichel in the slot, and it's 3-2 with 2.5 minutes to go. And then Edmonton gets the empty netter and goes from there. But, they've still got, now they're going to Colorado, Dallas, and St. Louis, and the Blues have won 4 straight. So I wouldn't say that all is right in Oilerville right now.
Okay, fair. Well, is it ever? Unless they win a Stanley Cup, which
point.
I get.
Very good point.
I like the expectations. Trust me, I really do. By the way, the text line's open for Western Dodge, 902-518-3033. Looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. What I will say for this, in my NHL world, the Panthers won at Detroit 4-2, I believe it was, on Friday night. Then they had the weekend off. The Panthers literally, Paul Maurice is like, get away. They weren't even at the rink Saturday, Sunday. So all I try to watch all the Panthers games and as many Lightning games as I can. And I don't know how much of that Tampa Bay Buffalo game you watched last night, but it was an absolute.
How fun
it was
that?
Unbelievable. And I'm sitting there going, over on ESPN right now, they're showing Detroit beat New Jersey 3-0 and I'm sure the NHL is like, can we somehow flip a switch and go over to Buffalo where it's a 3-ring circus right now? It's Pats Warriors on a Saturday night in a crushed can.
TNT and ESPN both had doubleheaders yesterday and both missed out on Tampa Buffalo. Oops.
You just never know. You just never know. I'm going to tell you something right now. Are you not? Because I am very happy for Sabres fans. And I know a few. Jenna from Southern California had to raise her hand because somebody called out Sabres fans on Twitter last night going, I don't know one Sabres fan. I'm like, well, I know one, Jenna, and she watches our show every day in Southern California. But the Sabres fans can finally puff out their chest. I still don't know what was with the angst between those two teams last night, other than it was a first-place showdown. But again, they look like Flames Oilers 1980s.
Look like Lightning Panthers 2025.
Oh, by the way, that's another thing. Everybody's got their shorts in a knot saying, oh, we thought it was the Panthers that were dirty. Turns out it's the Lightning. That's what everybody's saying around here. Mitch, I want to get this off my chest right now. It's not an insult to call a team the dirtiest team in the league. As a matter of fact, it's a bit of a badge of honor. It's not an insult.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, good.
Because it's rugged hockey.
Yeah.
And they walked that line. And, I watched a college basketball game yesterday where a guy from Michigan State who's as dirty as can be, he kicked a guy in the nards yesterday. Tries to make it look innocent. That's dirty, but there's a competitive factor there too. And he knows he's going to get under the skin of those guys. And he did.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is so much fun. This is kind of off-roading what I didn't necessarily plan to talk about, but that usually happens when you and I get together. We'll get to the other stuff after the break. But I think people need to understand something. Yeah, we live in a softer, gentler, nicer world. Let's all hold hands, kumbaya, let's get along. That's all fine for outside the ice surface. That's all fine for outside the boardrooms, I guess. You know what I mean? Of life.
Yep.
But when the USA hockey team, they went to a strip club in Miami and we did. And there was this big thing about, and when I say we, that I'm quoting them. I'm not part of USA Hockey, but there was a strip club. No, it's not a strip club. I know the DJ from there. I've never been there, Mitch, just so you know, and all in sundry. But hey, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, it's just like here when the Saskatchewan Roughriders won the Grey Cup, and they went to the legislature, and there were F-bombs galore, and people were like, "Oh, how can they do that in public?" Really? Like,
I know. It's like if you all want to play nice, right? I know. If you want to be you got to understand there's still aggression. It's still sport. There's still spoils of winning. And, I was listening this morning. Chris Sims was saying on NBC Sports Radio, it used to be the big bad Raiders. Now they're a joke. You know what I mean? Like there's something about intimidation. Life is about that. Sorry to say. And sports sure the hell is. So anyways, we're going to have to break here right away. How are we doing for time, Producer Corey? Who, by the way, can put his feet up for the day as he and you got yourself on the air, despite all the foibles. Not much time. Not much. How many years did you play at Northeastern? Quite a while, Jim. Oh, very interesting. Hang on. We'll be right back after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sastix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
As mentioned, we're in the warm-up. It's brought to you by Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Whether it's team travel, sports getaways, business trips, or bucket list vacations, Neil and the team at Uniglobe Carefree Travel deliver expert planning, seamless service, and trusted experience every step of the way. Planning your next trip? Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com, official travel partner of the RP show. I'm yet with the hockey, and I don't feel like Mitch is yet either. My buddy Brent from Florida writes in, and he says, I think it's fair to say Tampa just got a little tougher. Who owns the Chiefs? LOL. I just noticed Brandon Hagel got fined $5,000 by the National Hockey League. I'm not sure if you saw that prior to the show, Mitch, or not, but I'll say it again. Back to this toughness thing. I saw this meme. Brandon Hagel just attacked Deline. Yep. Yes, he did. Yep. It's hockey.
I'm not really sure what got the animosity up between those two teams either, because they were going at it right from the start last night. And then 2 seconds into the second, and Corey Perry got fed lunch by Beck Malenstein?
So you watched it? You watched it?
I watched bits and pieces of it, and it got to one of those points where, because there was a lot on in that window last night. There was Canada-Panama at the World Baseball Classic. There was the Brier final. That game was going on. Michigan State was playing Michigan. There was a lot of switching around yesterday in that late afternoon window.
Well, on the thing of the big bad Raiders, on this topic of intimidation, Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he goes, moving to Vegas changed the Raider image, in my opinion. We will get to that. I was looking forward all day to the Lightning Sabres game, and as you've said, it did not disappoint. A lot of times you're let down when you're waiting all day for a game like that. But anyways, before we move to football and the chaos that is the NFL free agency, our poll question is this, because I haven't talked to you since Friday's trade deadline at 3 p.m. Eastern when it passed. Our poll question for EMJ Marketing is who won the trade deadline? And I'm going to tell you right now, Colorado is running away with our respondents, 70+% saying the Colorado Avalanche won the trade deadline. The other options were Dallas, Buffalo, or other, and the rest of the voting split between those three. I would say Colorado won it, but how about you?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out if Colorado won it, in June if they're hoisting the Stanley Cup, but certainly getting Nazem Kadri, they're just going to throw line after line after line at you. And I still like Minnesota in the West, and I like what Minnesota did. I think if Minnesota had gotten a guy like a Steve Stamkos or a Ryan O'Reilly, that maybe that might have put them over the top. And I was surprised that Bill Guerin didn't make another huge move after getting Quinn Hughes because they had the cap room. But, yeah, Colorado to me looks to be very, very tough now. And I like what Buffalo did, even though they don't get Colton Parayko. Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn are going to fortify that defense a little bit. But to me, Colorado was the team that won.
Cool. And by the way, I put Buffalo in there for the moves you just said, Schenn and Stanley, but neither played last night. A couple of things. Number one, Colorado's won twice since the deadline, both in shootouts. So, yeah, they're going to be a wagon. Number two, as I was watching that game last night, our good guy, Dan Dunleavy, is the voice of the Sabres on television. We all remember him calling many World Juniors, right, on the Sportsnet radio. And I'm like watching this going, dang, he's good. And Rob Ray's doing color, and they had Logan Stanley in the booth with him because he wasn't playing. And Mitch, why you would try to interview a hockey player during a game, I don't know why you would do that, but literally every question, yes, no, yes. And Rob Ray was like, after the brawl that involved the goalie, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, what'd you think of the brawl, Logan? Yes. Rob Ray literally goes, do you get excited about anything? He said that on the broadcast. Well, yes. Oh, my God, it was awkward. Anyways, hockey players, I love them. Worst interviews on the planet. But having said that, football players are the best because they're nuts, and you never know what's going to come out of their mouth. Point two of the quick six show topics.
Have you gotten the latest out of Miami this morning?
Oh, yeah, I do. You just hold on. I'm driving. You're the passenger. The Raiders
just making sure that you're aware, because I know the show started when the news broke. So
the Raiders, you're talking about Tua, I assume,
and the Falcons.
Oh, I didn't hear that. They signed him?
The Falcons are apparently making a push for Tua.
Oh my God, what a bunch of maroons! Okay, well, just hang on. The Raiders traded 5-time Pro Bowl way back to Friday, I think it was. Was it Friday? The Ravens acquired Max Crosby. Oh, my
Friday
God.
Night,
blew my mind. Yeah. Rams made Trent McDuffie the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. The Eagles made Jordan Davis the highest paid nose tackle in NFL history. The Chargers re-signed 9-time Pro Bowl edge rusher Khalil Mack. And the Dolphins are releasing quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Now, you say the Falcons are in. We know for a fact the Dolphins are, because they sent out a statement. But where's the report that the Falcons are interested? Or who's it from?
The NFL Network.
Oh, they're rarely wrong. Okay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of they're legit. And Minkah Fitzpatrick traded to the Jets.
Oh my God. Well, it's funny you say that. And I don't know what the Jets are doing. Shout out Jets fans. We have quite a few that watch this show, including Matthew Barnaby, who watches daily in Ottawa. But Mitchell, I was listening to Dan Patrick today, which I rarely do. I'm not really sure why I was. He's so good. I know you love Dan Patrick, right? Of the things, two things he said, well, one really made me laugh. In the 5 minutes I listened, he goes, the New York Jets have declared their season over. Just made me laugh. And it doesn't sound like something Dan Patrick would say. And because the Dolphins are getting rid of everybody, I don't know who they're going to sign. They're going to have the salary cap when the free agency opens on Wednesday is $300 million. Over $300 million. The Dolphins are clearing over $100 million in the last 10 days. They're going to have a whole new team, which they need to. But the other thing is this, Mitch. Patrick brought up the Super Bowl betting odds, and I can't even remember the betting company that he quoted. I went to FanDuel for the lack of anything. It was the first thing that came up. What betting company would you go to for legit betting favorites for futures?
Probably 365 or Cool Bet.
Okay, fine. I went to FanDuel because this is my face every day. Who do you think is the number one Super Bowl favorite right now at FanDuel? You won't get it.
If past is any indication, I am going to say that they probably have either the Seahawks or the Patriots there because they were the defending conference champs.
Rams. Seahawks are 2.
Okay.
Rams are 1. Rams are 1.
Pick.
Rams are 1. Seahawks are 2. Ravens are 3. Bills are 4.
Really?
Yeah. Green Bay's 5. Chargers are 6. And the thing is, I'm like the only guy that scrolls to the very bottom of these things because I want to see who's dead. You know, there's a 3-way tie for last in betting favorites for the Super Bowl, and they're Arizona, the Jets, and the Dolphins. And by the way, I have this Dolphins jersey up because I bought it yesterday on sale. It's Tyreek Hill. But it's almost kind of unfair to talk about these things prior to free agency, don't you think? Because the Dolphins are going to completely rework their team.
Well, yeah, and it's just sort of like you take a look at any league. You know, you sit there and go, okay, you know, this team's favored, that team's favored. I don't have to tell you this, Rod, from your days covering the CFL as closely as what you did. You know, people already are, you know, will go, well, okay, the Riders are going to repeat. Well, can we get to training camp first and see what everybody has? And, you know, we saw free agency. And people, you know, the Riders took a big hit on defense. To me, I think BC is the team to beat right now. But we all know that things can change between now and the start of kickoff. So, that right now to talk about all that, it's a gambler's paradise because if you can read the tea leaves right, you could make a mint. Like, who had the Seahawks and the Patriots being in the Super Bowl last year at this time?
Nobody. I don't even think you did.
Right. Well, I had Seattle as a playoff team, but not as a Super Bowl winner. And I didn't even think the Patriots would be close to the playoffs.
Oh, so,
you know, like
I got to give
there's where you take a look at teams and go, where can I put some money down? You know, if Joe Burrow's healthy for a year, are the Cincinnati Bengals maybe the best team in the AFC Central? I doubt it. But if you want to make a small investment on them, you could probably get a pretty nice return if it cashes in.
Well, here's another one. And who is your favorite NFL show and announcer, analyst, host? What's your favorite? Radio, TV, whatever.
As far as a play-by-play guy or
No. For BS like what we're doing right now. To turn it on, what do you never want to miss? Dan Patrick, Colin Cowherd.
Boy, I like McAfee because like he really breaks it down. I'd probably go with that, but it'd probably be for me. It would be McAfee. If I'm in the car and I'm driving around, I'm listening to Patrick, and I'm also listening to NFL radio, and of course our good friend Zig Fracassi doing things. But yeah, I would say to me it's McAfee and Patrick.
It's never McAfee for me because I'm on at the same time as him, and I'm not a podcast guy, which is ironic considering I host a couple. But my favorite is Florio, and I can't remember why I even brought that up other than him and Chris Sims do a really great job. And that's what made me think of it. They were talking about Joe Burrow because you brought it up. Now with Max Crosby in the AFC North, they said Joe Burrow needs to deal against or with most games, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, TJ Watt. His life just got worse in that AFC North.
Well, I said a hot take at the end of the year. I said that Joe Burrow would be with another team at the beginning of next year, and I still think that he could end up as a member of the Vikings. But, yeah, if I'm Joe Burrow, I'm getting a hold of the GM and going, so Where are we with the cap, and what can we do with O-lineman? Because he's going to need some.
Well, and by the way, I love the audience participation. I always do. We do more of it on Wednesdays when I'm alone, but there's some good stuff. People must have had a great sleep this weekend because there's great comments coming in. Scott in Vancouver writes in, he says, Travis Kelce's staying with the Chiefs. Wonder if the cheetah goes back there. If I will remind everybody, and when the NFL season concluded, I said Travis Kelce will be back. We've talked about this. Why would you walk away from a job that pays you $25 million a year and be a rock star? And then what? They're always going to come back.
Might not want to live in Kansas City.
Or maybe she can deal with it until they're done, or be like Tom Brady and get a divorce over it, but you still got to be you. Speaking from experience, Rod. Brent in Saskatoon says releasing Tua is the first smart thing the Dolphins have done so far. I'm just reading the comments here. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says $300 million might be more than any CFL team has spent on salaries for their entire existence. That, again, is the salary cap for the NFL when the free agency market opens on Wednesday. John Ohm writes in from Winnipeg. He says, Monday Mania in sports. Let's hear all about it. RP show. That's what we're doing. So far, we've only got through NHL and NFL. We have a heck of a lot more to get to here with Scruffy. The sad thing, too, by the way, is the Raiders. Well, Jason in Red Deer writes, and he goes, wait, the Raiders aren't last for Super Bowl odds? I was a little shocked myself. Well, they have the number 1 overall pick, so you would think that they would be last. And maybe, I don't know, they think that Fernando Mendoza is going to be the next Tom Brady. I'm just shocked that they weren't at least in the bottom 3, let alone the worst overall. But anyways.
Take a look at the 3 teams that are there and then ask that question.
Oh, yeah, they're really, really, really bad. Aaron Rodgers will have a pick of a lot of places to go. Anyways, we'll continue this right after the break. Scruffy's with me. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikas's Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, everybody, welcome back. I feel like our time with Scruffy is dwindling, so I'll save all the other topics I was going to get to till the next segment. Scruffy with me here on Game Plus TV on a Monday. The Raiders fans checking in. Rob in Las Vegas writes in. He says the Raiders have a ton of draft capital and also have the most cap space with $127 million once Geno Smith is off the books. Scruffy just texted me and said that, who did you say, Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs? And yours,
the Super Bowl MVP is now in Kansas City. Apparently.
Do you have the television on in front of you, or how are you getting this information?
My phone went off during the break.
Okay. And you're saying Tua to the Falcons?
Yep. Well, the Falcons are making a strong push for Tua, is what the NFL Network is saying.
Bro, this is reminding me of the Olympics. And it was driving me crazy that the events and the games were going on while we were on the air. This is the Olympics of free agency right now. Yep. That's what's going on right now in the National Football League. And it's, hey, the CFL has this pre-free agency tampering window. The NFL was doing it first. I was led to believe that's where the CFL got the idea. Because free agency for the NFL
the only
opens on
difference
Wednesday.
Is that the NFL one is like basically 2 days, and the CFL is a week.
Right, but whatever. They seem to get it done. So somebody said, why not Kyler Murray to the Dolphins? Listen, the day ain't over yet, and this is just an absolute gong show. But you know what? People love it. They love it.
For your buddy in Indianapolis, the Colts have re-signed Alec Pierce, the receiver, to a big contract. So that's an interesting one.
Where's Bob Cole when you need him? Because you know what he would say?
Everything's happening.
Everything is happening. That's what's happening today. Okay. If we have time in this segment, we'll get to World Baseball Classic and the Briar, although we could talk about it. Well, in the case of the Briar, our good friend Matt Dunstone, who's been on this show multiple times, Winnipeg Skip, won it all. I'm not the biggest curling aficionado, you know that, but I know it's his first. He's been chasing that sucker for a long time. So everybody's got to be pretty happy for him. People got to be happy for Matt.
It was a lot of people in Saskatchewan were hoping that Matt Dunstone would win a Briar representing Saskatchewan. And I think a lot of Saskatchewan, the curling community, got to know Matt Dunstone during the time that he was representing Saskatchewan. And they've had to feel pretty good last night. I know I sent him a text last night after it was over. I haven't gotten a response yet, but I'm sure I will because that's the way Matt is. He's texted me in the past on stuff. So, no, it was great to see him win the Briar and finally sort of maybe kick that can away that says that Matt Dunstone can't win the big one, because he's been to Briar finals. He's lost. He didn't last night, and that shot he had 9 was unbelievable.
He's probably still partying, Mitchell. Come on. He's still a young man.
Be.
Yeah, he's a curler after all.
That he's after games. He's had a lot of sad beers. Tonight, there's going to be a lot of happy beers drunk. So
he's a beauty.
You could be right, especially in Newfoundland, because we know they can party out there.
He's a beauty. John Ohm says very happy for Matt. Woohoo! Hang on. Jason in Red Deer says, Rod, would you like to see Aaron Rodgers to the Dolphins? Does it make me look like a real poopy pants if I say I don't care? listen, I have a Dolphins jersey up here because I live here. I don't care about them. I think I've told you this, Mitch. I've had a lot of Dolphins fans say, you should come cheer for the Dolphins. I'm like, why? And they're like, well, we don't win any more than the... Right, well, but they say, we don't have the expectations the Cowboys do. We have just as much heartbreak, but we don't have the expectations. It's a lot easier. And I'm like, I'll just stay here with Jared.
Why is it that people in your home base feel that you have to cheer for that team?
Do you have a reason for why you say that?
Well, there are people that, like, I know that cheer for
the Blue Jays
Lions, or that cheer for the Edmonton Elks or Eskimos, or cheer for the Alouettes, and they just get chastised for it here. It's like, it doesn't matter if you were born here. You're not. So doesn't mean that you can't be a Rider fan. Like, it just amazes me how many people, and it's the same in Edmonton with the Oilers, and in Calgary with the Flames. You know, well, how can you not be an Oilers fan? You live in Edmonton. Well, maybe I don't want to. Maybe I want to cheer for somebody else. Same here.
But here's a stat for you that'll potentially blow your mind. 1 in 4 Floridians wasn't born in Florida, so they're used to people cheering for other teams. Do you know what I mean?
No, I hear you.
So they're used to, but I get it with you being the Cubs fan and living in Canada.
Well, there's another one. How can you not cheer for the Blue Jays? They're Canadian. Really?
I've said that to you.
We're going to go on this?
I've said that to you. So anyways, here's the thing though, because I wasn't that invested with the Alabama Crimson Tide. They were always my college team, but ever since Saban left, I haven't been a real big fan. And so I've become a Miami Hurricanes fan because I have a lot of friends that are season ticket holders. I've hosted their dang watch parties. So it is what it is. I'll do it on a case-by-case basis. But anyways, enough about all that. Stanley Cup favored odds coming out of the trade deadline. This actually matters. Not Super Bowl betting favorites before free agency even starts. Colorado, Mitch, is a whopping favorite to win the Stanley Cup at FanDuel. And that's the thing. Dan Patrick got me thinking about this. He brought up the Super Bowl odds. I'm like, well, let's talk Stanley Cup odds. Nobody else is doing that. Not here. Colorado 1, Tampa 2, Carolina 3. And if you've noticed, the Canes are getting ripped by their own fans for not doing anything at the trade deadline.
Yeah, they didn't do anything.
4 Vegas, 5 Edmonton, and 6 Buffalo. So I just want to sit here as you're the resident Oilers guy, because the Oiler Nation is exhausting. You're the number 5 betting favorite to win the Stanley Cup, and yet you want to trade everybody, fire everybody, make Bob Stauffer the GM. Have you seen that going around? I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Go ahead.
Like I do every year, I put money down on my team to win the title of choice. So, like, I've already put a bet down on the Cubs to win the World Series. I put a bet down at the start of the college basketball season for Michigan to win the Final Four. I'll put the Michigan Wolverines to maybe win the Big Ten, because I don't think they're a national championship team next year, the football team. I'll always do that. That's just part of being a fan. I'll put money down on the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl again next year. But when I look at it, though, and I see Colorado being the favorite, and I'd like to know who Colorado's going to play in the first round, because I think the first 2 rounds for Colorado will be their toughest, because they're in that division where they're going to either play Dallas or Minnesota in round 2, unless there's a complete collapse and Dallas catches them, which I can't see happening. And then in the Western Conference Final, they're probably going to get Vegas or Edmonton. And I don't know who I would take in that series right now, because both those teams have been so lukewarm this year. But when everybody goes back to 0, those 2 teams will be right there.
Well, let's just go one round at a time. And as it stands now, right, Colorado would face Seattle in round 1. And Seattle beat Colorado in the playoffs just a couple of years ago. The Ghosts.
And let's hope Tampa Bay plays Buffalo in round 2.
Oh, my God. the NHL's newest rivalry that nobody knew was a rivalry.
Right.
The Buffalo and the Bolts. Do you know what I'm saying about Stauffer being the GM of the Oilers? Ryan Whitney started that, right? Ryan Whitney said it from Spittin' Chicklets. Now, here's the thing. Stauffer hasn't denied it. Most people go, no. Now, Bob probably actually thinks he should be the GM of the Edmonton Oilers. Scott in Vancouver writes that he says, Bob Stauffer seems to not always get along with the other guys on the Oilers panel. There's a reason why. Those guys are trying to speak the truth. Bob's the official mouthpiece of the team. Come on. You don't know that? We all know that.
I'm surprised Mark Spector and Bob Stauffer haven't, duked it out yet this year.
Hey, the season ain't over yet.
I know.
It's boiling, man. Here's the one thing, Mitch.
Bob. If you don't love Bob Stauffer as an Oilers fan, you're not an Oilers fan.
Rod Phillips was worried about Bob's health because of his diet, what he ate. He's like, I'm worried he's going to die. Just worry about Bob. Or worry about yourself. Bob will be fine. Okay. This has been a lot of fun, Scruffy. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for getting that all sorted out.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You bet we will. We'll be right back with a sports update and viewer takeover in a second. It is the RP Show on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, everybody. Scruffy's gone. Now I could sit here and read info for you to the top of the hour if we wanted to. From the Western Dodge text line, David, number 1. I think this is David, number 2, actually, in Winnipeg. He writes in, he says, RP, I tune in for the smorgasbord of info. Keep loading it up. We are the Golden Corral of Sports Talk. I'm proud to say that. Kevin the Medium was in Galveston, Texas for a week. He went to the Golden Corral 3 times. He'd never been there before, but he went because of what we say on this show. He couldn't get enough of it. Just why you can't get enough of this show. So what do we know today? Tua has been released by the Dolphins. Scruffy says that the Falcons are loading up, trying to get him. Somebody wrote in here earlier, I think it was that same David from Winnipeg, number 1. He goes, how about Kyler Murray to the Dolphins? Let me just say this. I'm not a Dolphins fan. I don't profess to ever be a Dolphins fan. But the one thing I heard today, I'm around the guys from the Dan Le Batard show all the time. I'm never around Dan Le Batard, but I'm always around his staff. And they were saying how Chris Greer, the outgoing general manager of this team, has screwed up the Dolphins for years. Everybody seems to agree on that. It's not a coincidence that the Dolphins are the 32nd ranked team in the FanDuel Super Bowl betting odds. Anyways, hang on. I'll get to that sports update in a second. Let me do a sponsor read, because frankly, that's why we're here. Our guest today, coming up in hour 2, is Jesse Granger from The Athletic, Las Vegas. He covers the Golden Knights, and it's presented by Prairie Panels. Prairie Panels is a Saskatchewan-based company. All the greatest things are produced in Saskatchewan. Specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineered building solutions, whether it's for agricultural building, shop construction, or commercial projects, Prairie Panels brings innovative, durable products backed by local expertise. If you're looking for building materials you can trust, from steel panels to structural solutions, come on, who doesn't need those? Be sure to check out prairiepanels.ca. Vintage Sasko writes in, formerly Fake Gainer. He says, hey, Rodfather, dang it. Once again, I failed to show up on time after the dang time change. Thought I'd be better this year. Big old F- for myself. Deplorable. Signed, Sasko. Listen, stop beating yourself up about it. Mistakes happen. You're here now. My God. Told myself that 5 times today. Might as well pass it along to you. Kelly writes in from the Queen City. He says, morning, guys. Lots of action going on in the NFL. Ken Walker going to the Chiefs. Running. Cheers. I got my Chiefs shirt on today, courtesy the Whole Life sports and lifestyle brand in Florida. They made me these shirts years ago. Darren in Melfort writes in. He says, hey, Rod, any thoughts on the Russian anthem being played at the Paralympics and allowing Russian athletes? I say bring all the Russian athletes back, including juniors and Olympics. I didn't even know that was happening. So those are my thoughts. Couldn't agree more. But I really did not want to get into political talk. I'm sure you understand. Sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. 5 games in the NHL tonight, including one in Vancouver, where the last-place Canucks host the Ottawa Senators, who have won 2 in a row, and 3 of their last 4 as they pursue a playoff berth. Elsewhere, the Flames visit the Washington Capitals, who have lost 3 in a row. I want to proudly say something here, by the way. Kevin the Medium was so upset when I had said earlier before the NHL season began, that the Canucks would be in last place. He was hurt. He was genuinely hurt, as was his son Jake. They host the Hughes Sports Podcast together. And here's what's great about not being a fan on this show. Now, I'm a fan of the Cowboys, but I've detached from them. We've gone over this. I cheer for them. I watch the games when they're on, but I'm not emotionally invested. That way I can predict when they're not going to make the playoffs like the last 2 years, which I've done accurately, or the Canucks finishing in last place. And a lot of my predictions are right because I'm not a fan. And as much as you would think that hurts or it's hard, it's actually not that hard. It's not that hard at all. Ready, set, negotiate multi-million-dollar contracts. The NFL's free agency period opens today, with a 52-hour legal tampering period ahead of the official start of the new league year Wednesday. Edge rusher Trey Hendrickson, 6-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Mike Evans, Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III head the list of high-profile players who will be free to sign a contract with the new team. Quarterbacks Kirk Cousins and Connor Murray also will be seeking new teams because they're going to be released by their teams. Oh, my God, this is like so yesterday. The Las Vegas Raiders are acquiring cornerback Taron Johnson from the Buffalo Bills. Raiders also receiving a 7th-round draft pick in exchange for a 6th-rounder. It's just hard to keep up with. And then here's the other thing. Defending champion Japan became the first nation to clinch a quarterfinal berth in the World Baseball Classic, then rallied on Masataka Yoshida's 2-run home run in the 7th inning to beat Australia 4-3 at the Tokyo Dome and assure first place in their first-round group at Miami. I didn't even know. This is where the game was. Juan Soto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Junior Caminero, and Austin Wells homered as the Dominican Republic routed the Netherlands 12-1 in 7 innings. Frankly, I'm glad I didn't go. I'm following the scores. I'm not watching the games. It's a little like the Olympics. I found it a little difficult to try and keep up with. In terms of where the games are, what channels they're on. Sounds like they're on Fox Sports 1. At least the Canada games. They're all over the place. And frankly, if I got my druthers and football's not being played, I'm planning my day around the hockey games. I just can't be into everything. There's only so much, as my dearly departed friend Don Fitzsimmons used to say. He's in the program with me, was a counselor for years. Just only so much my little chicken brain can handle. There's enough hockey for everybody. Bob writes in, yeah, that Bob. He says, good morning, Rod and Scruffy. Bob from Medicine Hat. Watching your show this morning. Have a great day, you guys. Go Habs, go. I pass along the positive messages because we want to start the weekend positive, go through the week positive, and end the week positive if we can. Jeff the Stamps fan says, Kevin is not always rational. Not always. He's never rational, which is fine. That's him. That's him. But there's a reason that you're all watching this show every day, because it's not a fan sitting here. And maybe you find it funny that I get upset at the Dallas Cowboys and the hijinks of Jerry Jones, because I find it funny. I find it funny. But I don't let my emotions rise and set with the team. And that's the other thing. You know, this is kind of sad. I listened to the clip this morning from Max Crosby. It was, of all the chaos, and let's call it chaos, that's going on in the NFL right now, and for that matter, NHL too, coming out of the trade deadline, the wild game last night between Tampa and Buffalo, you got to kind of just center in on one thing. And this morning on Florio, they spent an hour on Max Crosby being traded from the Las Vegas Raiders to Baltimore. It's like you can only talk about one thing at one time. Sorry. And Dan Patrick was talking about it too. When we flip over to the next hour, this is going to be the gotcha. Probably talk even more hockey. It's been a hell of a lot of football discussed here in hour one today. But anyways, they played a clip of Crosby. The guy is clearly a very sharp dude. Because I'll tell you what, if I was an athlete, I wouldn't talk to the media at all. Before podcasts, I would have made every statement via Twitter and Instagram. That would have been my thing. Sorry, you can't twist that. And also, that was before podcasts, but now, anybody, you want a clip of Max Crosby's thoughts on being traded out of Las Vegas, go to his podcast. That's what I would do. But anyways, he said, all the love, all the hate, I'm grateful for it all. And I sat there and thought, because when people talk about the haters, you don't ever stop to think that they have haters. Oh, Max Crosby has haters? I never stop to think about it. I can't remember the girl's name right now. She's been on this show from Toronto. She's on NHL, on TNT. I don't know. And she's on wrestling too. You'll tell me. She had a thing on social media last week. She's like, to the haters, you won't break me. Start by not acknowledging them at all. That's a very good start. But anyways, back to the Crosby thing. He's leaving Las Vegas. There's a movie about that, with his head up. And I don't want to name names within the Raiders organization, but there was a headline that I saw today that said, Raiders blankety blank questions Crosby's work ethic in wake of trade. So when these splits happen, they're no different than divorces. One side feels the need to trash the other, and the other just Say whatever you want. I'm out. Bye. And that's Crosby. Going to ball. You can talk about my work ethic all you want. You guys are picking number 1 overall, and you're going to be terrible for years. Bye. He just went from the worst team in the NFL to potentially the best. They're the number 3 betting favorites to win the Super Bowl this year, Max Crosby. So why would he talk noise about the Raiders? They're the ones talking noise about him, and it's just sad. And I can see that the fan base gets upset too. The fan base is like, you're leaving us. Reminds me of my mechanic, Mike, when I was in getting my Jeep fixed last week. You remember that story? He goes, I almost moved to North Carolina with my kid. But I went up there, helped him move, and then I realized I was bored. And I said, you can't leave. I would slash your tires. And he goes, you only don't want me to leave because I fix your Jeep so well. I said, yeah, that's right. Not lying. But you're only in it for your own interests. I was guilty of it. The Raiders fans were guilty of it, but I get it. Mike's was thinking to go to North Carolina. I was like, oh, you're abandoning me? Same thing with what the Raiders fans are feeling with Max Crosby. He's doing what's best for him. Scott in Vancouver says Crosby's a beast and wanted to stay there. I don't get moving him. Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. Rich in Edmonton says, I don't blame Crosby at all for leaving that mess. And I'm a Raiders fan. Finally, somebody sees it clearly. It was the GM, John Spytek, by the way, that was allegedly trashing Crosby's work ethic on his way out of town. I didn't see the clip. I just read the headlines like everybody else. Hour 2 coming up, which includes Jesse Granger from The Athletic, Las Vegas. This has been fun. We'll keep it up after the break here on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
And we're off. Brand new week on the RP Show. Welcoming the viewers across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. We got a big treat for you. Jesse Granger is the guest today. He covers the Golden Knights for the Athletic Las Vegas. And a big treat for the viewers who have joined us for Hour 2 on the Game Plus TV network across Canada and 33 other states. I'm going to talk a lot of things here in Hour 2 that I haven't talked about yet today. So let's get down to business. I'll tell you that the text line's open. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. 902-518-3033. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. Point one, because everybody's talking about football and NFL free agency with the pre-tampering window opening today. Official free agency opening Wednesday. We're going to start with hockey because nobody else is talking about it in our world. Leon Draisaitl's goal at 11:53 of the third period Sunday night stood out as the winner as the visiting Edmonton Oilers defeated the Vegas Golden Knights 4-2. Trent Frederick, Vasily Podkolzin, and Kasperi Kapanen also scored for the Oilers. For the Golden Knights, Noah Hanifin, Jack Eichel scored. Mitch Marner had a couple of assists. That was the cherry on top of a pretty good weekend of NHL hockey for Oilers fans anyways, because they won. And it got me to thinking about a lot of things. That was not the game of the day, but who would have thought the Tampa Bay Buffalo game would be? There's a lot of things going on right now. We've established that. We're going to try our best to get to them all here in the Quick Six Show Topics, brought to you by Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show. Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel. We'll talk more about them later. But ESPN had a doubleheader on. And the first game was Detroit blanking New Jersey 3-0, and even the players were falling asleep in that one. That's not anybody's fault. It was a snoozer of a game. The slobber knocker was what was going on in Buffalo, and I very successfully stayed off social media over the weekend to the degree that I'm thinking about maybe extending that through the week. But I saw one thing this morning, somebody saying Buffalo Sabres are going to win the Stanley Cup. It was actually somebody here in Florida, and Panthers probably going to miss the playoffs. And so the Panthers are looking for a rooting interest. And we're at a point now, I'll tell you, when I got here 5 years ago, they would have cheered for Tampa Bay. I spit you not. They would have. Now they hate Tampa Bay's guts and vice versa. So they're not going to cheer for the Lightning. So they're jumping on the Sabres bandwagon, and I will say pump the brakes. Brandon Hagel of the Tampa Bay Lightning was fined $5,000 today for his role in the brawl for it all last night in Buffalo. I mean, that was patty cake compared to what we were used to, 80s, 90s, junior hockey, what I grew up in. But it was still pretty good. So I'm sure the people in the NHL office were like, can we flip a switch and get over to the Buffalo game? Because this thing's wild. And then I watched the start of the Edmonton-Vegas game from the Fortress, and it was a snooze fest. It was a defensive. These are two teams that, as we really buckle it down in the home stretch, which Friday's trade deadline ending signaled the official start of the home stretch for the NHL teams. You're going to see Edmonton, I would hope for their sake, and definitely Vegas, because I know them, are going to be locking it down defensively. And that's what I saw last night. It was 0-0 for the longest time. I'm like, I'm not going to be up long enough to see how this thing ends. Got up today and saw that the Oilers won. Now, I might spend this whole entire opening segment on hockey, just so you know. Because again, God knows everybody else is talking football. Our poll question today is for EMJ Marketing. It always is. Elite Keynote Speakers Bureau. If you're looking for an elite keynote speaker to transform your event, contact Joe at emjmarketing.com. You can peruse his roster there too. The poll question is, who won the NHL trade deadline? And the options that I came up with were Colorado, which they must have, because they're leading the poll with over 70% of respondents. Dallas, Buffalo, or other. And we had a write-in ballot from our co-host from last hour, Scruffy, who said Minnesota. I'm like, hey, I get that. I'm going to vote for Colorado. But I will say this, Vegas is going to have to lock it down defensively. And I don't think there's any doubt that they were in the market for a goalie. But if you noticed, who didn't move? Jordan Bennington was like the number one goalie on the board available going in, and he didn't go anywhere. Sergei Bobrovsky didn't go anywhere. And I did mention this over Thursday, Friday's shows. I don't know what it is about me, because I can tell you, swear on my mother's grave, I don't dig for information anymore. I don't, because it just pisses people off. This is a different time now. You're a pain if you're out digging for news, unless you're the Elliot Friedmans, the Adam Schefters, the Jeff Passons. That's their job, and people expect that. But I'm not digging for news. And I got all this info just dropped in my lap about the Sergei Bobrovsky situation here in Florida, which was a situation only so far as Bob's on an expiring deal. It would have made only good business sense for the Panthers GM Bill Zito to see what was out there to get a trade for Bob. But Bob made it clear to the GM he didn't want to leave. That actually strengthened the position of Bill Zito in terms of what he was asking for, because they didn't want to move Bob. They didn't want to. But if they can get something and Bob's willing to go, hey, why not? He didn't want to go anywhere. And I believe, because I read the text very quickly, and I'm like, I don't want to know that. I don't want to know this. Too much information can get you fired these days. That's what happened to me in my last job. But I believe I read in those texts that Vegas was in on Bob and San Jose. And I think there might have been a third team. Doesn't matter, no. He didn't end up going anywhere. But if Vegas was kicking tires on Sergei Bobrovsky, you could see why. Their goaltending crease, for whatever reason, has been a state of flux all year, and they were unable to acquire anybody else. So we'll see where this goes. I know that Jason and Red Deer, you are a Golden Knights fan, so tell me, is Carter Hart going to be back in time for the playoffs? And they have won a Stanley Cup with Adin Hill, and he's there too. It's just nobody's really running away with it. It's that old football line. And for the football people, because I'm going to switch over to football here right now, do you agree with this adage? If you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one. Or if you don't have two goalies, you don't have one. If you have three, you don't have one. I always went along with that adage, but the older I get and kind of look back and go, wait a minute, a lot of these adages are bunk. Like the absolute tool who told me halftime adjustments are overrated in football. I'm sure I don't remember who told me that. I hope he's out of work. Halftime adjustments win you games. And I thought if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one adage worked until the Eagles won a Super Bowl. Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. They don't win a Super Bowl if they don't have Nick Foles replacing Carson Wentz when he tore his knee up. So I'm not willing to say that Vegas doesn't have a number one, but it doesn't look like they have a number one. Jeff in Toronto writes in and says, depends on who the two are. If it's Steve Young and Joe Montana, then no. Right. Or Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. I'm not sure those Vegas goalies are that. But again, they've already won with Adin Hill. So anyways, enough about that. I don't want to get into misogyny, but thanks for the... Thanks for trying to kick the door, to slip in the door. I'm not getting into that, the male versus female stuff. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he says, hour one was pretty good. I hope hour two compares well. Well, we can only go downhill from there. That very same Jason in Red Deer says, do you know what the status of Carter Hart is, Rod? I got to say, if Hart doesn't come back before the playoffs, the Knights might be in. I don't know. You're the Golden Knights fan. Again, I'm not digging around for information. For whatever reason, people tell me there's stuff anyways. On the Carter Hart situation, I just haven't sniffed around on it. NFL. Okay. We'll get to the NHL picks later. For Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, this is old news now with the Las Vegas Raiders traded 5-time Pro Bowl edge rusher Max Crosby to the Ravens for 2 first-rounders. I feel like we are talking about it on this show for the first time to the Nevada audience. This is like so late last week. The Rams made Trent McDuffie the highest-paid corner in NFL history. The Eagles made Jordan Davis the highest-paid nose tackle in NFL history. The Chargers re-signed 9-time Pro Bowl edge rusher Khalil Mack. Dolphins releasing quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. That officially came out Monday morning. And now the rumors are rife of where's Tua going to go. Rumors now is that the Falcons are going to make a strong offer to get him. Let's be honest. Everybody only cares about their own market, and there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat too, by the way, but that's why there are thousands upon thousands and thousands of hours of sports talk being dedicated to this every day. Everybody has their own opinion. They're like belly buttons. Everybody has one. Most stink. But I go back to Friday's discussion with Mike Davis, the head coach and general manager of the Vegas Nighthawks, who was like, and by the way, he wasn't just talking noise. I know Mike well. He didn't talk noise. He was like, if I was the GM of the Raiders, I would be trading the number 1 overall pick, getting a package of guys that can help my roster now, and sign an aging veteran. And he brought up Aaron Rodgers, but you now have a choice, if you're the Raiders or any team looking for a quarterback, of Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, Tua, who I would not advise, Kirk Cousins. There's a lot of guys out there. They're saying this free agency pool is very shallow. I don't think so. Let me just pause for the cause. 902-518-3033 is the text line, brought to you by Western Dodge, or the YouTube chat for the vast amount of people that are watching streaming. I just opened the text line. Greg in Calgary writes in, he says, great show, Rod. Scruffy is the Stephen A. Smith of Canada without the yelling. For those that don't know, he's our Hour 1 host when we air across Canada on the Game Plus television network. We're still across Canada in Hour 2, but we also are across Nevada. I'll tell Mitch that you said he's the Stephen A. Smith of Canada. I'd like to know what he thinks about that. David, number 2 in Winnipeg. I was bringing up, who's the female announcer from the NHL on TNT? I feel terrible because I should know. It's not Emily Kaplan, and it's not Leah Hextall. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, says, are you thinking of Leah Hextall? No. She's from Toronto. She's been on this show, and I'm blanking. But we were talking about haters earlier, and she goes, you're not going to break me. And I would say the number 1 way to deal with that is don't deal with them at all. Don't even acknowledge them. Where were we? Hang on. Let me get through all this stuff. It is, we missed the 111 window, but I'm sure Carlos in Indianapolis recognized it. He did. Yes, Jackie Redmond. Thank you, Jeff. Jackie Redmond. And she's a great gal. I've been around her a lot. It's pretty cool, actually, because when she was on this show, she talked about how she does the NHL thing, she does the wrestling, but her number 1 sport is baseball. Because her and her dad, she grew up with her dad taking her to Blue Jays games in Toronto, and if they weren't at the game, they were playing in the yard, working in the yard, listening to Tom and Jerry. Well, Tom. Oh, yeah, she's cool. She is awesome. You're right. But here's, Jeff says she's awesome. Here's the thing. You hate to think that quality broadcasters who are good people get to deal with haters, or athletes too, like Max Crosby, as I said. He said, thank you for the hate. It's all worth it. He's talking about Raiders fans and Raiders staff trashing him on his way out of town. It's just the way that it is. And I would suggest, and especially in this world now, because I've dealt with a lot over my career, and I'm helping younger people with it, you can't acknowledge them. publicly or privately, because they just try to bring you down. And anybody that tries to bring you down is already below you. Today's news flash and life tip. Anybody trying to bring you down is already below you. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, writes in and says, Kyler Murray should go back to playing baseball. He was drafted by the soon-to-be Las Vegas Athletics, 9th overall in the 2018 MLB draft. I wonder if he will. Has anybody talked to Kyler about that? I thought about that when Arizona let him go, which I don't know if this part of the job would change if he dumped over to MLB, but I'm thinking about Tua. And if you notice, I took my Dolphins jersey down and put up the Golden Knights one. But it was a very tough situation in Miami for Tua. Again, back to this time in society. Somebody took a photo of a guy that looked just like Tua in downtown Miami, who was about 75 pounds overweight, and said, look at Tua. He's let himself go. Dolphins got to cut this guy. Wasn't even him. Okay, there's Tua, common-looking guy around here. Somebody's like, Tua doesn't have sleeves of tattoos, or he does, or whatever. It's like, use your brain. It's just a gross time. Okay, Jesse Granger joining us next. By the way, our guest segment is brought to you by Prairie Panels. They're a Saskatchewan-based company specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineered building solutions. Whether it's for agricultural buildings, shop construction, or commercial projects, Prairie Panels brings innovative, durable products backed by local expertise. If you're looking for building materials you can trust, from steel panels to structural solutions, be sure to check them out at prairiepanels.ca. They bring you our guest segment, and today it's with Jesse Granger from The Athletic, Las Vegas, to talk Golden Knights. He joins us next. We'll get to World Baseball Classic, college hoops. We'll be right back on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. Your teams, the biggest stories. Join Mike Davis and Mariah Janos live at 2 p.m. daily here on Silver State Sports as they tackle the biggest stories in Vegas sports. And joining us to help out with that right now is Jesse Granger from the Athletic Las Vegas. Hey, Jesse, I know there's a lot of talk with the Raiders. Golden Knights, pretty big news, too, and maybe not for all the best reasons with that home loss to the Edmonton Oilers last night. What were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, this team's struggling right now. They're struggling to generate offense. They have been falling behind in games. That wasn't the case last night. Last night, it was a more even game, but the same trend that we've seen from these last few losses has continued, and that is that when it's a neutral game script, this team has a hard time getting in on the forecheck. They have a hard time generating enough offense. Now, when they've fallen behind in games and teams sit back on their heels to protect the lead, they have been able to generate offense, and that's why they've got as many points as they do. It's why they're only 1 point out of the Pacific Division. But going into the playoffs, a team that hopes to go on a long run, that is not a recipe. Coming from behind is not a recipe to win in April and May in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So it's concerning. And last night they played against an Edmonton team that has had a hard time keeping the puck out of the net. They've given up an average of almost 5 goals a game over their last 12 games. And the Golden Knights weren't able to generate much offense at all. So yeah, it's concerning time for the Golden Knights right now.
Well, that's why we have you on. I'd like you to break it down with me. And I enjoyed your trade deadline article on The Athletic. A longtime subscriber here, longtime reader of your work. And you mentioned it being a quiet trade deadline for the Golden Knights. Quiet in relation to trade deadlines past, right? They still made some moves, but as you wrote, not the splashy, glitzy, welcome to Vegas trades like you guys are all used to.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this team has swung for the fences at the trade deadline quite a bit over their 9 years in the season. You can go all the way back to season 2 when they brought in Mark Stone, who's obviously the captain and a big part of the Stanley Cup championship. A couple of years ago, they made big trades for Noah Hanifin and Tomas Hertl. And part of it is just because of all those trades, they're starting to run out of high-end draft capital, and the prices were expensive across the league. You look and like Nick Waugh went for a first-round pick from Toronto. That just tells you that's a fourth-line center. Just tells you how high the market price was for these players. And I think the Golden Knights, they don't have their next 2 first-round picks. They sent them both to Calgary for Hanifin and Rasmus Andersson. So they went into this deadline without as much ammunition as they typically have. And I think that's part of the reason that they weren't involved in any of those big moves. They made a couple minor additions in Cole Smith and Nick Dowd. Depth players don't score a ton. They've combined for only 10 goals this season. They're veteran defensive guys that bring some physicality and some defensive responsibility, but certainly not the additions that Golden Knights fans are used to. And if you're a Golden Knights fan and you're looking around the Western Conference, Colorado added 2 great centers in Nazem Kadri and Nick Waugh. Minnesota loaded up. They bought in Bobby Brink and Foligno and a couple other guys. And it's the Golden Knights certainly didn't make up any ground on those contenders in the West when you look at the additions.
A lot of questions have come in from the viewers, and we'll get to those in a second if you don't mind. But I want to have a little fun with you. Like you said, 9 seasons in the league. You've been covering them a long time. Or you've been covering them since day one?
Yep. Before they had a team name, when it was just Vegas Wants Hockey. They weren't even the Golden Knights yet when I started covering them.
Okay. Well, they seem like a team that's really fun to cover. I mean, we've had their guests on this show, but I've never covered them day to day like you do. And in your article, you mentioned about the mascot going out to the airport and dancing girls. And what are some of the things they've done to welcome new acquisitions to town? Because Teams don't do that, but Vegas does.
Yeah. It's Vegas, right? Everything's a show in Vegas. Everything's got to be big and bombastic, and they kind of go along with the theme of the city of Las Vegas. Yeah, it's a fun team to cover because there's never a dull moment. They've been good most of the time. Even when they're bad, they're making huge trades to try to fix things. So yes, it is an entertaining team to cover. There's never a dull moment. In terms of what they do to welcome players in, usually it's a horde of cheerleaders with pom-poms and the Gila Monster mascot chants. They all show up at the airport. They give them a welcome. I don't remember if it was Max Pacioretty, maybe. They flew him around on a helicopter. They flew him to the Grand Canyon. They flew him down the Strip. They like to make a big entrance. And then you've got all of the casino marquees, like going down the Strip. Each casino's got its giant screen that's advertising what shows are playing that night, what restaurants to eat at. They all typically will get together and put up "Welcome to Las Vegas" with a image of the new player in a Golden Knights jersey. So yeah, they like everything in Vegas. They like to make it flashy.
That's awesome. From the audience, John in Winnipeg says, "Nice collection." John he says, "Nice collection of stuff behind the guest. Wowzers." In a second, and if we have time, we will get to that. Allie in Texas writes in. She says, "Hey, RP and chat, checking in on a quick lunch. Hope everyone is well. We are, Allie, and nice moves by your Stars ahead of the trade deadline." Jason in Red Deer would like to know what you can tell us about the crease situation for the Golden Knights now in the stretch drive into the playoffs and what Carter Hart's status is, if you don't mind, Jesse.
Yeah, Carter Hart, it appears he's still a ways away from returning. They haven't said whether he's skating or not. His pads are in his locker in the locker room. That's about all the information I've got in terms of that until he's on the ice. Once he's on the ice, we'll know that we're probably a couple weeks away. It's going to be interesting because they've got 3 healthy goalies once he's back. Aiden Hill, obviously, the big contract. This is the first year of a 6-year deal, $37.5 million. So he's just starting a big extension. It hasn't been a good season for him. He started off slow. He got hurt. He came back. He didn't look himself when he came back. I think he's started to look a little better recently, but the numbers are not good for Aiden Hill. I mean, he's got an .860 save percentage. There's no denying that this has not been a good season for Aiden Hill. Akira Schmid has been kind of the one constant who's been there all season for him. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been bad. He's kind of just been keeping the ship afloat. The team's second place in the Pacific Division, as bad as the division is, and I think a big reason for that is the steadying presence that Akira Schmid has brought. We spoke with Kelly McCrimmon after the deadline. Someone asked him if he thought about trading for a goalie, and he basically said, look, the goaltending has to be better, but I think we have good goalies. And I tend to agree with him. I think Aiden Hill I don't think he's an elite goalie, but I think he's a top 15, top 20 goalie in the NHL when the defense in front of him is playing well. And he hasn't been that this year, but I think to trade for another goalie, to add it to those 3 contracts they already have, you're just compiling your problem. I think if the Golden Knights are going to have the season they hope to have, they're going to go on a run. It's going to be down to Aiden Hill being at his best. I think maybe Carter Hart can come in, but honestly, what we saw from Carter Hart was not very good. He made some flashy saves. He made some visually impressive saves, but he plays outside of his posts a lot. He's very aggressive with his challenging. It's not really the style of goaltending that I think fits behind this Golden Knights defense the best. I think more of a positional blocking goalie like Aiden Hill, and we saw that during their cup run and honestly, even in the 2 playoff series since then. So to me, their playoff hopes and their hopes of going on a deep run ride on, can Aiden Hill get to his game and play at his best when they need it?
Jesse Granger is with us from the Athletic Las Vegas, and I just remembered you're a goalie and I'm a goalie. It's fun to talk goalies. Let's just say this. If all 3 were healthy, who's starting game 1, in your opinion?
Aiden Hill. I think Akira Schmid's been better this season. I think he's in better form, but this team trusts Aiden Hill. Sean Burke, excellent goalie coach for the Golden Knights. He's done a great job here. He loves Aiden Hill, and he loves his compete level. And in the playoffs, that's where Aiden Hill kind of has been. I mean, the guy's got a .917 save percentage over his career in the playoffs. Last year, even though they lost to Edmonton in the second round, it wasn't Aiden Hill's fault. I mean, the final game was 0-0 going into overtime. What more can you ask from your goalie? The Oilers finally got one by him. They didn't score a goal in the final 2 games of that series. So this is a goalie who is having a rough year, but he has performed incredibly well in the playoffs. The chaos around him, the physicality around the crease, to me, that brings the best out of Aiden Hill. Is it a guarantee he's going to flip the switch and suddenly be good when he hasn't been for months? No, but to me, that's your best chance.
I like it. Good answer. And as you said, he has done it before. Arlen Bruce checks in, former Kansas City Chief, two-time Grey Cup champion. This isn't necessarily in your wheelhouse, Jesse, nor mine. He is like a sports betting question, but he just says, how do analysts narrow down who will win the Stanley Cup? He says, in football, it's all on the quarterback. How is it in the NHL? I don't know. I've won some pools in the past. I go on special teams, definitely goaltending, who's hot going into the playoffs. I would say there's a lot of factors when you're trying to figure out a winner and sort of set odds.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, honestly, hockey is such a high variance sport that we see upsets all the time because you only need a bounce here or there and all of a sudden the game changes. I like to rely on like expected goal share is a number that the nerds love. Casuals that don't appreciate analytics, they're not super into it. But at the end of the day, all it's telling you, expected goal share, is basically just telling you which team's controlling the possession, which team is controlling the territory. And in hockey, when you need bounces, especially in the playoffs when defenses tighten up, give me the team that has the puck the most in the offensive zone and is going to give itself the most opportunity to have those chances. A team like the Colorado Avalanche absolutely dominate a number like that. I'll take that team typically.
Well, since we're on the topic, I looked it up this morning. FanDuel has the Golden Knights number 4 and the Oilers number 5 in bet Stanley Cup futures. Like, would that shock you? Like, I'm a McCrimmon believer. Okay, I've been following him for decades. I don't know Bruce Cassidy as well, but I feel like people just think the Golden Knights are going to pull it together when they need to. Are you in that camp?
No. I don't think this team's good enough to win the Stanley Cup. They've in their last 16 games against playoff opponents, they have 1 win and 15 losses. And that is a heck of a stat. I mean, this team has the only reason they're really even in the playoff chase, to be honest, is because of how bad the Pacific Division has been. Since we've gone to 4 divisions, we've never seen a team win a division with less than 100 points. That's for sure going to happen in the Pacific this year. None of these teams are going to get to 100. We might see one that's closer to 90 points. And I just think now they do have an easier path because of that. The path, they don't have to go through the gauntlet that is the Central Division. If you're Minnesota, you're staring down Dallas in the first round and Colorado in the second round and then Edmonton or Vegas in the third round. Like that is, the Golden Knights don't have to go through that. They're probably going to get an easier path. But this team hasn't shown me this year that they're good enough to hang with the best teams in the league. And this week we saw that. Minnesota came to town. I thought Vegas played a better game than they had been playing, and they weren't really close with Minnesota. And then last night, we talked to the players after. Brett Howden and Noah Hannafin both said, we thought we played a great game. And yet they lost to Edmonton, and I didn't think it was particular. Like, I thought Edmonton was clearly the better team. So to me, until they prove to me that they can beat the best teams in the league, I have a hard time believing that this team is a real, true Stanley Cup contender this year.
Well, let me tell you, bravo. You're not sitting there waving black and gold pom-poms. You're saying it the way that it is, which is pretty rare these days. So kudos to you for that. So I guess why I enjoy reading your stuff and follow you as much as I do. Since I have you and the viewers pointed it out, the stuff on your bookshelves, is there anything of historical significance to you behind you, why it's on there?
Well, I collect all these bobbleheads. They're pretty cool. They're not really significant. I would say my favorite one is this Marc-Andre Fleury there's a donut. He's sitting on a donut right there, and it counts down his shutouts. So it's got his all-time shutout. You can like move it as he gets more shutouts. That one's pretty cool. My goalie mask behind, that's the mask I used to wear when I played. It was an old one that I had retired. I sanded it down and painted it myself and got the Athletic logo on there. So I'm pretty proud of that one. First goalie mask I've ever painted. But yeah, not a ton of significance, just fun stuff that I've collected. They give you merchandise when you're covering games. So I've got a bunch of it.
Of course. Well, if I may, this mask over my shoulder was my dad's from the 1960s. That thing's legit. Well, you've seen the old goalies, and he was one. Yeah. Rich in Edmonton writes, and he goes, honest analysis. Great stuff. So I just want to pass that along, Jesse. People are appreciating the way that you covered the team. So that the playoffs started today, it would be Vegas and Edmonton, but for the longest time, it would have been Vegas, Utah. And Bill Foley told me once, as I'm talking to you right now, that he wanted a geographical rivalry with Arizona. And unfortunately, the Coyotes never held up their end of the bargain on that. Do you think there's something there to be had with Utah?
Certainly. It's obviously close. Whenever they play in Salt Lake City, I make the drive up there. It's only about 5.5 hours north of us. And what's interesting is because there wasn't a team in Utah, the Golden Knights really made that they tried to make that their territory early on in their franchise. I mean, they would do preseason bus trips up there with players and meet with kids out on rinks, and they would play a preseason game, usually once a year in Utah. They had the TV rights up there. Obviously, that all changed when the Mammoth showed up, and now Vegas has kind of switched its course, and now they're trying to take over Arizona. But the point being, there were a lot of people probably in Utah that rooted for the Golden Knights prior to getting the Mammoth. Obviously, once they get their own team, they're gonna switch their allegiance. But yeah, there's quite a bit of history there for such a team that's only been here 9 years, and Utah's looked good. They've won a few in a row. The team looks hot. Karel Vejmelka. I'm the goalie guy. Karel Vejmelka is super impressive. I don't think we give him enough credit. When you look at the workhorses around the league, you think of Andrei Vasilevsky, Connor Hellebuck, UC Saros. Karel Vejmelka is playing more games than any of them, and he's handling it well. That Utah team they don't have any the high-end talent isn't there. They don't have the elite first line, but they've got 4 good lines that can skate well and forecheck. That would be a really fun series. Sign me up for 7 games of Vegas, Utah.
I can't say Vejmelka, first to 30 wins. Easy to look at, not easy to spell. They're telling me we only have a little more than a minute. Is that correct, Corey? Because that's off timing of normal. But I think if the rivalry, all it would take is for both teams to be good, right, at the same time. That's what, and some playoff meetings.
Yeah, I mean, the Golden Knights have kind of they had an early rivalry with San Jose. That was the big one. They played them 2 years in a row in the playoffs. First, Vegas eliminated them. Then the Sharks eliminated Vegas in that dramatic Game 7 with the 5-minute major and all that. That was kind of the rivalry. Then the Sharks sort of went into a rebuild, and the Golden Knights beat up on them, and that rivalry kind of died. Lately, I would say the Oilers is probably the biggest rivalry for this team, just because they've met a couple times in the playoffs. The teams do not like each other. That's one thing. And right now, that's the playoff series we're set to have. Vegas-Edmonton would be great. There's plenty of animosity there. There's star players on both sides, but Utah could definitely jump into the mix.
I apologize if they cut us off, Jesse. Just there might be a timing issue here. So I'll apologize in advance. So how are we for time? Okay, you'd mentioned 2 minutes a couple minutes ago, so that's good. Yeah. Do you dabble with the Raiders at all, Jesse, or are the Golden Knights strictly your thing there in terms of coverage?
Yeah, I'm just a hockey guy. I watch football. I'm a Denver Broncos fan, born and raised in Colorado Springs, just south of Denver. So I do not like the Raiders. I root against them. But so I follow them just from a fan. I'm a football fan, but I do not cover the NFL in any way.
That's cool. Well, I'll tell you what, the reason I ask is I'm always fascinated in the Raiders versus Golden Knights dynamic in your town, because the Golden Knights are the number 1 team, and a lot of people wouldn't believe that, right? But everybody tells me that's the case.
They certainly are from a diehard represents Vegas perspective. Now, this town loves the NFL. It's every city in America loves the NFL. The NFL is king. There's no question that the NFL is the top dog everywhere. And there are a lot of NFL fans in Vegas, but I think that in terms of being loyal and being a Vegas team, the Golden Knights certainly are they have more diehards. They were a brand new team. They weren't a team that came from somewhere else. And I also think that a lot of people in Vegas had stronger football allegiances to their previous team, so they weren't as willing to jump on board with the Raiders, whereas maybe the hockey allegiances weren't quite as strong, so it was easier to jump onto the Golden Knights when they came to town.
Thank you for the explanation. And we officially are at 30 seconds. Tell people where they can follow your stuff, Jesse.
Yeah, just at The Athletic. I'll be writing some Golden Knights stuff. We'll be writing more about the Golden Knights as the playoffs get near, and lots of goaltending stuff. Going to have goalie tandem power rankings. I do that periodically throughout the season. Now that the trade deadline is passed, there were no goalie trades. I was expecting maybe 1 or 2. There were none. So I'm going to rank the teams as they stand going into the playoffs. Who's got the best goalie tandems?
Can't wait. Well, I'll be waiting with bated breath for that. From the audience, Rich in Edmonton says Vegas could be the Oil's biggest rivalry at this time. Jason in Red Deer says the irony of Utah becoming the rival instead of the Coyotes is they are the same team. LOL. Yes, well, for sure. All right, Jesse, thanks for this. You've gained a lot of new fans here today. Keep up the great work.
Thanks for having me.
Jesse Granger from The Athletic, Las Vegas, checking in, talking Golden Knights. We'll be back in a moment with a sports update and viewer takeover. You're watching the RP Show across Nevada on Silver State Sports and across Canada on Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back. The RP Show is brought to you in part by Outlaw Communications and our good friend Tony Plater, where creativity is a way of life, specializing in strategic communications, leadership training, and clear conversational content that motivates your audience. Check them out at tonyplater.com. That's Plater with a Y. Sports update on this Monday. I just open up the Associated Press wire and I can just read you the headlines. That's what's going on. Commanders re-sign left tackle Jeremy Tunsil to a 2-year contract. Dolphins releasing quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, resulting in a $99 million dead cap hit. Malik Willis to sign. I can tell you that's not going well here in South Florida. Chiefs land Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker on a 3-year deal worth up to $45 million. And out of the NFL, Winnipeg Jets center Mark Scheifele has been named NHL First Star of the Week after recording 8 points over a 3-game stretch. Colorado forward Martin Necas was the second star. He had 8 points over 4 games, and Buffalo Sabres forward Tage Thompson took the third star after recording 7 points over 4 games. They're calling him TNT now, Tage Thompson. He's been in the league a long time, but they just now started to call him TNT, from what I can see. What else do we have here? Oh, we didn't do the junior hockey report. For the Mad Greek, Landon McFadden scored a hat trick, leading the Moose Jaw Warriors to a 7-3 win over Lethbridge Saturday. A big win it was, keeping the Warriors within 1 point of the Red Deer Rebels and the last playoff spot in the WHL East. Warriors play in Swift Current Wednesday. They travel to Prince Albert Friday, and they host the Regina Pats Sunday afternoon. That's a great time to get some grub at the Mad Greek Eatery, downtown Moose Jaw. Are you craving the famous Greek ribs that everybody's talking about? Get yours today at the Mad Greek Eatery. Stop in there before or after the Warriors game and tell the Mad Greek Johnny Utridis that you saw us talking about him on the RP show. That would help us out a great deal. And the sports update is for the Ultimate Fan Zone. From jerseys to trading cards, Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store is your fan cave headquarters. Visit them in store or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Rolling. I didn't get to all of the Quick Six show topics. We got hung up on hockey and football earlier on, and that's just kind of what we do around here. That's our wheelhouse. So how about some college hoops? I have a bit of a surprise for you. How about a treat for you after I tell you this? Tickets punched for March Madness. Tennessee State, Long Island University, North Dakota State, Northern Iowa, High Point, and Queens won their conference tournaments to secure automatic berths to the NCAA tournament on the men's side, March Madness. On the women's side, Duke, UCLA, Texas, West Virginia, Western Illinois, Rhode Island, Samford, South Dakota State, and High Point secured their spots. Coming up tomorrow, we will be joined by my good friend TK Wins to talk a little college hoops for you. And here's why. You can't get away from it. And to be honest, it's not just a U.S. thing. I was perusing tsn.ca the other day and the app and also the Score, because I'll never go away from the Score. And it's all over those Canadian sports apps too. March Madness, it's a thing. And TK Wins is a sports betting analyst buddy of mine. I guess we'll find out tomorrow if college hoops are his number one thing. He has told me in the past that the easiest sport to bet on and have the most success is college basketball. So for a newbie, a rube like me going into March Madness, we're going to talk college hoops with TK Wins and maybe get into NHL, NFL, and all the rest too with TK. Because here's the thing, he hosts a podcast just prior to the Cats and Bolts podcast in terms of time. They host theirs in the Podcast Junkie Studios in downtown Boca Raton, Florida, and then they vacate the studio. We go in and do ours. And TK always wants to talk about the Panthers. Always. The dude is up on everything. And this won't surprise our Nevada viewers, but it might surprise a lot of our Canadian viewers. These guys make a living on betting advice. Betting advice. People pay for it with these guys that have become friends. One of them is TK, and he'll be with us tomorrow to preview March Madness. So you're not going to be like me and throwing your money away when you enter a bracket, because I don't like throwing my money away. We'll be coming right back with overtime after this. You're watching the RP show across Nevada on Silver State Sports and across Canada and 33 states on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the RP Show. It is the Overtime segment brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast, where they are now offering shooting training and also have player development camps, all-day camps for the kids. Let's be honest, you just want to get them out of your hair. Relax, drop them off at Overtime Hockey Lanes, let Randy and Michelle look after them, and have a great day of playing hockey. It's very inexpensive, very safe and fun for the kids. If you want to hang out, there's a licensed bar for the adults too. Overtime Hockey Lanes, 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Longtime partners of the RP Show. Trust me, I'm going to get to the NHL picks for the night tonight in a second. There are only 5 games. Pardon me. I grab my clock here from the audience. Man, it did not take long to get you all into hoops. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, go Gonzaga. He says, I'm going to guess the entire bracket correct. I can feel it. Jeff in Toronto says, regarding betting, it's not college basketball that's the easiest to bet and make money. He says, nah, player props for soccer and hockey. It's like printing money. Goaltending tandem? Ooh, boy. Who's the top goaltending tandem? As you heard Jesse Granger say earlier, he's going to be coming out with his rankings at The Athletic. Long-time subscriber here. It's only $70 a year. I'm not good at math, but that's far less than $10 a month. Good writing, guys like Jesse. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, writes in, he says, the top goalie tandem power rankings have to have the Flames number 1. We are set in the net. Really? Dustin Wolf and Devin Cooley? Those are the goalies? I'm not saying you're wrong. A couple years ago, Sergei Bobrovsky and whoever his backup was were battling with Connor Hellebuck and whoever his backup was. I'm not quite set to put Dustin Wolf in that stratosphere. I would have to go back and look at the stats first and start there, but it is a very fun description, fun discussion. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, Flames number one? How? That's kind of what I said. I don't want to argue with Tony, though. He's a good guy. Let me do the NHL picks now, and then we'll talk about some other sports stuff. 5 games in the National Hockey League tonight. Los Angeles Kings at Columbus. Kings are just a dumpster fire. The coaching change has made zero difference, Jim. Columbus for us. Calgary at Washington. Both teams are out. This is a friends and family game, as they say. Only friends and family care. I guess I'll take the Caps. New York Rangers at Philadelphia. Flyers. I'm talking all cocky like these are easy. We'll see. Come back tomorrow and see what I had right. Utah at Chicago. But, well, the Mammoth are playing hard. They got a lot to play for. Chicago does not. I kind of wanted to go around the league more with Jesse Granger, but clearly, well, I mean, he could have handled it. We kind of got hung up on the Golden Knights, but again, we're airing in Nevada, and they got a lot of fans in Canada, so maybe we'll do it with Scruffy tomorrow. Because I want to get the take on Chicago and what they did. They're dealing away anybody that Connor Bedard has to play with, and I get it that they've got picks coming the other way, but that's years away from that being a benefit for Connor Bedard in a win-now business. And Ottawa at Vancouver, definitely Ottawa because they can at least see a playoff spot. Vancouver cannot. So those are our picks. We'll be back here tomorrow to talk more about them and see how we did. Say it again, just putting a wrap on what we talked about today. I really enjoyed listening to Dan Patrick this morning. I don't normally. I'm a big Dan Patrick fan. My radio just isn't always on that. And he was talking about this wild NFL free agency right now, and he was talking about Super Bowl futures odds. So that got me thinking about the Stanley Cup futures. And the Colorado Avalanche are a whopping betting favorite right now to win the Stanley Cup. Tampa Bay is number 2. Carolina's number 3. Vegas number 4. Edmonton number 5. Buffalo 6. Kind of makes you wonder how that got past the spell check, doesn't it? Yeah. Here are your bottom 5 in the betting favorites, by the way, which I find just as interesting. Number 28, Chicago. Number 29, Vancouver. Number 30, the New York Rangers. Number 31, the Calgary Flames. And number 32, the St. Louis Blues. And now I know that there's not a lot of offense in Calgary, and there's even less now after they dealt away Nazem Kadri, and Rasmus Andersson was their top-scoring defenseman. But I don't know how you could have the number 31 team in the NHL as the top goaltending tandem in the NHL, but that's just me. Oh, yeah. Oof. They're all writing in here about betting. Well, that's the one thing is I stay away from betting. I've just never really been a big bettor. And the problem for me was when I was playing DraftKings, just Sunday pick 'em, throw together a roster any given week, and I was winning. All of a sudden, boom, you get that email on the Monday morning going, congratulations, you've won X amount of dollars. You finished in the top 100 of 30,000. Started to think, like you all, I should be the general manager of an NFL team. And then I got this rush. And then I'm betting more and more. And I'm like, I just stepped out of it. I'm like, this is probably not good for me. So anyways, I see it didn't take very long. Didn't take very long for you all to jump on the sports betting thing. So tomorrow, I think you'll really enjoy my chat with TK Wins tomorrow, college hoops betting expert. Tony from Cochrane, just to put a footnote on that, says Devin Cooley leads the league in save percentage at 920. Okay. Thank you to Jesse Granger, Scruffy, producer Corey, most of all you. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
that?